Hi, welcome back to AutoReview. My name is Patrick and today I'm presenting you the 2018 VW T-Roc. The one we have here is a T-Roc Sport with the 2-liter TDI diesel engine producing 150 horsepower. It has a 7-speed DSG gearbox and is Euro 6 norm. The T-Roc in Switzerland starts at 25,200 Swiss francs. The one we have here with the few gimmicks on board would set you back 45,390 Swiss francs. Just follow the link in the description to Garage AG in Interlaken, who provide this car to me. You can see it over there. And for the last 4 days, so I could make this video for you. Furthermore, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you're informed about every new video. And now let's get to the car. So we have here the top engine, the 2-liter TDI, producing 150 horsepower at 3,500 RPM. Maximum torque is 340 Newton meters between 1,750 and 3,000 RPM. 0 to 100, 8.4 seconds, top speed 200 kilometers per hour. I tested this car with fuel consumption between 4.2 liter was the lowest, up to 6.5 liter, which would give you with the 55 liter fuel tank a range of approximately 850 to 1,200 kilometers. Weight of this one would be 1,683 kilograms, and you can tow 750 kilograms without brakes, and if you have a trailer with brakes, up to 1,700 kilograms. So, as usual, you've seen the car from outside in the intro. I'll show you the first row, the second row, the boot, and then we drive and I tell you what I think about it. Enjoy! Alright, so the T-Roc from inside, and as usual we start from left to right. So let's just close the door. And on top we have basically to lock and unlock the doors. Then we have a very big handle to close it. We have the heated and electrically adjustable mirrors, which are actually electrically foldable as well, which is something that in my opinion is not really necessary, and rather than having that I would like to have a reverse camera, which we don't have in this car. Then we have electric windows, all with one touch, and you can see they open all the way up and down. Actually, let's leave this open to get some air in. And on the bottom we have large door bins which fit actually big water and more stuff. Then on the left, to turn on and off the lights, ventilation on the left side, on the right side a little bit smaller one, and in the middle the ones left and right of the screen. Then in this car we have the digital cockpit, which is great. I do recommend it, which is very individualizable. Actually, you can individualize it towards your taste. That's what I want to say. Just going through here, you can either have performance or you can have the dashboard. Then we can switch the modes. If we put it in sport, it doesn't change in this car the colors. It will just change how the throttle responds, and obviously how long you'll keep the RPMs up and high. Then we have on the left the water temperature, on the right the digital indication of the fuel level, and obviously all the different systems that you are on and off. Steering wheel is adjustable in reach and rake, which is obviously good. Seats are adjustable in height as well, and manually to go front and back, as well as we have a lumbar support, which is manual, a little lever on top and a wheel on the bottom to adjust the incline of the seat. Then steering wheel leather wrapped with the shift pedals, left down, right up for the 7-speed DSG gearbox, and obviously you can shift over the gear knob as well if you'd like. On the left we have then all the buttons for the cruise control, speed limiter, as well as the ACC, which is the front radar in different settings, which is great, plus the volume rockers on the bottom. And you can go in 10-kilometer steps with the silver buttons, and in 1-kilometer step up and down with the resume and set button. On the right side we have a telephone call to go through the menu, basically adjust the look of the digital cockpit, go up and down in channels, so go up and down through the menu, and left and right the channels from the radio. Then in the middle we have the touchscreen navigation unit, which has shortcut buttons on the left and right. Plus, obviously, if you get close to it, you can see it. Maybe there's another area of buttons coming up. Resolution isn't the highest, I have to say, and it's one criticizing point I have as well with the digital cockpit here, because I can obviously show the navigation as well in here if I would like to, but the navigation quality or the resolution is not very good. So it's a little bit pixelated, I have to say. If you compare this obviously with the Touareg, the new one, or with the Audi, the sister brand, it's lacking a little bit of resolution. Then on the bottom we have a lot of blanks. Then we have the emergency blinkers, parking sensors, and start stop on and off. We have heated seats in 3 settings for driver and passenger, as well as heated steering wheel, which is great, and obviously dual zone air conditioning. Then we have 2 USB ports on the bottom, and what I like as well is you don't have to use it if you have a phone that actually supports wireless charging. You have a wireless charging station, and the size exactly fits my iPhone 6, which doesn't have wireless charging. Then 12-volt power socket, or actually a cigarette lighter, which you should never smoke in a car. The 7-speed DSG gear knob. Then we have the lever to basically switch modes between snow, eco, off-road and off-road individual, so you can adjust some parameters here. Let's just see. So the steering, the engine, the off-road, the ACC, the AC, the hill descent control and hill climb control. You can adjust all of those. So let's just put it back on road. And then you have as well a mode button, which switches between eco, normal, sport and individual. Then we have electric parking brake and auto hold function, which I love, which is a great feature. Cup holders, which aren't adjustable in size, but you have a bigger one, a smaller one, and the one for the energy drinks, plus a little tray for some small items. When you open the armrest, you have some space for small items, for example, your wallet. And what I like as well, the armrest is adjustable in height, as you can see, which is really good. I love that. Then we have the glove box with the CD slot and 2 SD card slots, as well as some slots for coins so they don't fly around, which is a decent size, is good. On top we have illuminated mirrors for driver and passenger, and in the middle then obviously the lights, as well as the emergency call system or information, or if you want to schedule, for example, appointment for a service. So seats are very comfortable, I have to say, good adjustable. However, I'm a little bit concerned about this white parts of the seat, because I can imagine if you have small kids and over the years the white won't look that white anymore. Alright, so that's it for the front. Let's hop in the second row. Alright, so the T-Roc from the second row, and surprisingly it doesn't look that big. You can comfortably sit in the rear as well. So the seat in front is adjusted to me. I'm 184 tall. You can see my knees are not touching it. I have some space, and if I sit like lazy person, then I have even more space. So door opens pretty wide, which is good. Let's close the door. Then electric window. You can see we have a tinted window here. Opens all the way, which is good. I hate it when there's always a piece of window left. Then we have some door bins, space for smaller items. On the back side of the seats we have basically some space to put magazines. There are 2 pockets, left and right. In the middle we have some ventilation vents. However, we can only open and close them. We can't adjust the temperature. Therefore, it's a 2-zone AC. And on the bottom we have a 12-volt power socket. Some things that are missing are the USB ports, because we don't have any of them. And for a car from 2018, I think that's a point that's missing. Then on top we have reading lights, which is something nice, and they are LED technology, which is good. And what I mentioned about the seats as well, this car has now 7,000 kilometers, and you can start to see a little bit of color here as well. So be careful with choosing white. Isofix left and right for the child seats. The headrests, this is all the way they go up, and they're very comfortable, I have to say, and from the height is very good as well. Then handle and hook is here, another hook here, and the same on the right side. And one thing I forgot to mention is we have height adjustable seat belts in the front, which is great. So seats are as well comfortable because you have a little bit side support here, which is nice. And thing with the headrest for the middle passenger is that it doesn't go really higher than that. So that's it. You shouldn't be too tall. At the same time, you shouldn't have too long legs, because the transmission tunnel is really high. It's like this high, and you have to put the feet left and right because there's carpet here. One thing I really like is the armrest. Armrests are always great, and you can adjust the cups. They're actually even rubberized, which is something nice. But the adjustment of the cup holder is a plastic piece, or 2 plastic pieces that you can take out. And the problem is, if this one goes missing, well, you have to buy new ones. So just keep that in mind. One another thing that I like is you have actually an opening to get things from the boot. If you, for example, go skiing, you don't want to have the ski box on top, you can actually put the skis here. Depends on how long they are. Maybe they're going to disturb you in the front. It's always nice rather than folding the seats. Okay, so let's close this and then again we can fold it down. All right, so that's it for the rear. Let's check the boot. All right, coming to the back of the T-Roc, and we actually haven't discussed the front. And one thing that I didn't like, but I loved from the front are the LED daylight running, which are at the same time the blinkers, and it looks amazing. I think from the design point of view, this is the best looking SUV from the front. Now, coming to the back, we see, well, we can compare the T-Roc a little bit to the Q2 from Audi, which has kind of the same setup, I would say. You have very narrow windows, a lot of car on the bottom, which makes it look sporty. Now here we have the optional 18-inch alloy wheels, and we have this curve that comes from the bottom, goes through the fuel cap, which is on the right side here. And as well, you can see we have a AdBlue that cleans the exhaust. Goes into the tail light and then continues throughout the boot. And then on the back we have the rear spoiler, small shark-wet antenna, tinted windows from the B-pillar all around, as I mentioned already. And then what I really like is we have a very masculine rear with only red and white lights. Then we have a T-Roc logo in the middle, 4Motion, obviously 4-wheel drive. And if we go a little bit lower, you will see something that looks like exhaust pipes, which aren't, because the exhaust is actually covered on the bottom. It's just a design element. Now, to open the boot, you basically push the VW logo on the top and then you pull the lever and it will go up. Good thing is it really opens quite high and you don't have it above your head. The cover opens with it, and then I would like to tell you how much space we have when we have the seats up. However, I couldn't find information. The information I have is when you fold down everything, you have a maximum storage capacity of 1,237 liters. Now, the boot floor is pretty much with the height of the bumper, so you have to load a little bit higher, which is actually very comfortable, but it takes a lot of space away, because when I open this up, then first of all we have something like this, which I love. Very simple. You just go above a certain point and then it holds up. You have a lot of space below because we have no spare wheel. We have a compressor kit and a lifter to open, basically lift the car to change the tire. The one that you don't have in case we have to do it later. But there's so much space that, for example, my DJI Phantom 4 fits below the second boot floor, which is really good. So you have a lot of space. However, you don't have anything really deep because it's only this high. Now, to fold down the seats, we have to go actually from the side. You can't reach here. I mean, you could reach over there, but it's not very comfortable. And you have like 40-60%. What I like as well, we have, as you've seen from the back side already, you can basically load like skis or something longer through without folding down the seats. Then we have hooks left and right in the back and the front, and smaller hooks made from plastic to hold your shopping bags. Then here we have the emergency triangle, and then you can basically bring it down, and that's it. One thing that I would have to criticize is that this car, despite the price tag, has no reverse camera, but gimmicks like electric foldable mirrors, which is something pretty useless in my opinion. I rather would have a reverse camera. But without further ado now, let's hop in and let's drive now. Okay, so let's go and drive the T-Roc. I have to be careful because there are some motorcycle film crew that is going up and down this road, so we're just going to cross it quickly and then we're going to drive on the back road. Okay, so let's close the window because we don't want to have noise. You have to be careful because there's some strollers. Okay, so let's start with the things that I would like to see improved, which is, I mentioned already, first of all, the resolution of the screen over here. So if I switch from here to there, first of all, I love that you have the navigation in front of the driver, not on the right side. Obviously the ideal one would be if you have that in your windshield, but this is already the second best thing that you can have. However, the resolution is just not there. I mean, the circle, you see the little pixels there, and this is something that you don't see on the middle screen, you don't see on obviously higher spec cars. We have to always think as well, okay, what is the price that you pay here? But if you offer a system like this, you should have it with a really good quality. And even though I really like it, I wish it had a higher resolution. Same as here, so I rather switch to this view. Okay, we go left.
Now, what I love about the screen is that you can individualize it. So I can show whatever I want. For example, if I drive very fuel efficient, I can just go up and down. Now I switch it back. You see, you have to be careful. Where is it? Here we go. Fahrdaten. Okay, here we go. And you can switch between instant fuel consumption from the beginning, long term, since the last refill. What is the range that you have left? Range on AdBlue, because obviously AdBlue you have to refill here as well. Then comfort, basically in the sense of what is using your fuel. Now here we have the AC. If you, for example, have the air condition on, if you have the heated seat on, the heated mirrors and so on, it will show you here. And speed, you can have it in a big screen in the middle, and then we have as well assistant and back to navigation. Now here we can change the look by pressing the OK button. We can have some information, for example now range and fuel consumption, or we can have the classical round instruments. And one thing I really like is a little feature is that when you drive, it shows you a little arrow in the fuel consumption is what is the average, and will show you if you're below or above. So the ring basically closes or opens. And the same thing with the range. If you have basically refilled the car, you have a full fuel tank, it will be full. And then the more you use, the less range you have, the smaller the circle becomes, which is a nice feature to have. Now, the front radar works great, and what I like as well, it works from 30 kilometers an hour. Now you see we have a cyclist in front of us, it recognizes it. It shows you here as well what is your speed that you have set, if you're below it or above it. Let me just see if I go above it. Yes, it will show in red. So if you're below, it's green, if you're above, it's red, which is a nice feature as well. Then we can do 1 kilometer steps, as I mentioned, and we can go 10 kilometer steps, which is nice because often I test cars where you can only go 10 kilometer steps or 5 kilometer steps, and if you want to drive 83, because obviously 83 will be in reality 80. So if you drive 80, you're too slow and you have people behind you maybe holding at you. So you have to basically cheat the system by driving 83 and then engage the cruise control. You don't have to play around here like that. You just set it and then you go up and down 1 kilometer steps. Now, another thing that is worth mentioning is that we have no reverse camera in this car. I mean, this is pretty well equipped already, this car. So you have cruise control, you have front radar in different settings, we have lane departure assistant, and so on and so on. But you don't have blind spot assistant, which you can get, and you don't have a reverse camera, which you can get. But for a price of 45,000-ish, I would expect this to be here. Yes, if you put the reverse gear in, you'll have some visual information. Let me just stop somewhere and actually show you before I'm gonna forget about it. Just a moment. Where can we stop? Where can we stop? There will be parking in a second. Hold on. Now we just go on this one here. Here we go. If I engage reverse gear, you will see I have this kind of lines will show me, but I have no picture. I have no view to the back, so I do have to use my mirrors and I have to look around and look around. And it's just so much easier. I mean, you got used to cameras nowadays, and it's just so much easier to have them. And I would rather don't have electrically foldable mirrors. What do I need this for? Okay, let's go. Let's put it in sport. And it's a totally different characteristic, so it actually accelerates easier. It's not limited, because in Echo it's kind of limited. It takes away a little bit of the power. Not really, but it feels like it. And obviously it revs longer and higher. It stays in higher revs longer before it shifts. And obviously you can as well go into manual mode. How we do that, you just put it on the right and it's in manual, or you press actually either up or down and you can force it in the manual. If you for a long time don't use it, it will switch back to automatic. But if you drive, for example, twisty mountain road, you can basically shift yourself if you want to do that. though this is not really a car to go twisty mountain roads with. It's not a race car, it's a comfortable SUV. Talking about comfort, even though it's comfortable, it's easy to get in and out. In my opinion, it's a little bit stiff and a little bit hard. If you drive over uneven roads or roads that aren't really great, then you do feel it. Another thing that I discovered as well is higher speeds, everything above 100 and 120, you have quite a lot of wind noise. But again, this is because of how the car is shaped, right? It's an SUV. And last but not least, one thing that I would like to see improved is connectivity. I mean, yes, you have 2 USB ports here, and I love that you have wireless charging, which is great. A lot of car manufacturers are putting this into the cars because a lot of phone manufacturers are offering this. However, what about the kids in the back or the people sitting in the back? If they run out of juice, they have to say, "Mommy, Daddy," or "Hey, buddy, can you please take my phone and charge it?" Or you have to put the cable through. Come on, USB ports are very simple, very cost-effective things to make someone happy, especially the rear passengers. Now, space-wise, it's not bad, though the boot space is limited. I like that you have the double floor. So basically, if you open the floor, you have a lot of space there, but you can't actually put it down. So if you have something higher, it will not fit. So you have to remove the cover, right? Or you have to somehow split this or fold the seats to put it in, and it would make it more versatile if you could actually lower the boot floor, which you could do because there's nothing there, right? But it doesn't have the mechanism. Maybe there's option to buy a 2-level boot floor. I haven't checked really, so please forgive me. Now let's go into tunnel or go on a highway and drive through a tunnel. Just see how it looks from inside here and how the car accelerates. Now go back into sport. Here we go. And as well, it indicates here in the dashboard if you're in sport, eco, or whatever mode you are. Now, and we can try the ACC, which is a nice feature as well. We have to go on the highway. Now, engage the ACC. You just set the cruise control because automatically the ACC is set, right? But, as you can see here, okay, so now we turn on the light. Okay, now we're at 100, and as I mentioned, 8.4 seconds to 100, top speed 200 kilometers an hour, which is more than sufficient. Now this car comes with the ambient light, the red one here, but it only shows here and no, nothing in the back. It's just this one here. I'm not quite sure if it's worth paying extra for that. Now, if we're in ACC, we've been cruise control engaged. Obviously, we have the lane departure that brings you back into the lane, which is good. At one point, if you don't put your hands on the steering wheel, let me just see if I can do that without it recognizes my hands. Here we go. Lane assist, please take the steering wheel. So it will alert you first with the sound. Now let me just be careful because I don't want to be too close to these things. Let's see if it goes through here. Okay, sorry, I had to take the wheel because otherwise I would go into those things. Now, let's try again. Don't have much highway left. But first of all, it will alert you, then it will alert you again. Come on. You see it goes back and forth between the lanes. Alert 1. There's another alert, and now the next thing will be that it will brake. So to wake you up in case you're falling asleep, right? And it will continue beeping. But then it doesn't do anything. So when I tested the Q2, it had the same system but better. Actually, it will slow down and stop the car until full stop. I'm not quite sure why they don't implement it into Volkswagen. The same thing, I own a Skoda and we don't have the same thing. So only Audi has the feature of actually slowing down the car to full stop and putting on the emergency lights. It's again a little bit of politics between the brands. Audi is premium, they give it. Volkswagen, Skoda, Seat belongs to the same company, which is Volkswagen AG, but they don't give it to chain. Now, other than that, we can go back into normal mode. I really like how it drives. Visibility is good, though obviously the seat pillar is quite huge, and not having a reverse camera, it's a little bit difficult to look out. But I love the fuel consumption. I managed 4.2 was the lowest, and I wasn't really driving slow. And one thing maybe worth mentioning as well is the 7th gear. You can force it in manually. You can force in the 7th gear manually if you're driving 80 kilometers an hour, and it will stay there a few seconds, but then it will not continue, right? It will basically shift down again into 6th gear, because it's going to be, the RPM going to be too low. So at 80 kilometers an hour, the RPM in 7th gear is around 1100, which you can do for a few seconds, but it doesn't want to. To use the 7th gear, you need to drive at least 90 kilometers an hour in a flat area, because if you go up the hill, obviously it will shift down again. But at the same time, I managed with driving 80, 90, 100, somewhere in between there, mostly 90, I managed 4.2 liters. And it wasn't like I was blocking all the traffic behind me, not at all. So that's something really good. And overall, it's a really beautiful car. I really like the car. The assist system works well, or assist systems work well. Though I would love to have blind spot assistant stock as well. All the assist system I would like to have as a stock, because it's all an option. Same for the B-LED headlights, which are amazing. They work super nice, especially in the evening. I'm a big fan of LED lights. And then on the other side, I don't understand why they're still offered a base car with halogen lights and with steel wheels and plastic covers. Again, this is something I will never understand. I'm not happy about this, but this is what it is. So if you spend 25,200, you get the basic car. If you want something nicer, you have to obviously take some money into your hands and then equip the car with obviously a bigger engine, automatic gearbox, dual clutch here, 7-speed in this case, and so on and so on. So thanks so much for watching. I hope it was informative. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon. Thank you very much, Garage AG in Interlaken, who provided this car to me again. And I wish you a great day and see you next time. Bye!